Er. No, you're announcing the outcome following the point is over. Not that we're playing a single point. You're contacting the score like 6 seconds after the point is over. After. You missed her like 4 times during this match. Times. She's never ready. It's not like we're having 2 30-ball rallies. It's 2 balls. She's going to go pretty quick. I'm not going. I'm at a normal speed. Ask any of these referees. I move at a moderate speed. She's. But she can't every single point. Moreover, everybody in this audience knows not. I've been silent for the entire game. Why do you suppose they cracked him? We gave her a time validation because she hasn't been around. For about 6 points. The initial set. Each and every game, even the second set. I didn't say nothing. But now it's Coco Gauff and LauraSiegemund squared off. In a battle that swiftly turned from tennis match into an intense theatrical festival. And it was fully Siemens doing what should have been a simple match turned into a spectacle of complaints, accusations, and terrible sportsmanship among tennis enthusiasts. They shook their heads. Siegemund made the decision that her best tactic wasn't to outplay Coco on the court, but to try and unsettle her psychologically by grumbling about everything under the sun. The key complaint from Siegemund centered around time infractions. She kept insisting that Coco was moving too slowly between spots and that the umpire wasn't calling it consistently. Siegemund made a huge show of highlighting the fact that they had been playing for 25 minutes and the umpire had only handed Coco 1 time infraction. She took action like this was a huge injustice, as if Coco was getting away with breaking the rules left and right while she was being treated differently. To open this set. I know, but it's the rules. He's not permitted to express it. Siegemund must have mentioned something. Here's the problem with Siegemund's argument. The umpire's role is to uphold the rules fairly, and that's exactly what was taking place. If Coco was truly frequently breaking the time constraints, she would have received several violations and eventually point fines. The fact that she only got 1 violation in 25 minutes suggests that she was primarily remaining inside the rules. Siegemund wasn't mad about injustice. She was upset that her complaints were not having the desired effect. Wanted. The conversation between Siegemund and the umpire was something else. Siegemund noted that every umpire does what this umpire was doing, offering players a bit of mercy on the time clock. With composure, the umpire replied that no, not all umpires act in that manner, and they both knew it. Even the umpire pointed out that Siegemund was smiling because she knew the truth. That's a courteous way of saying, you're full of it and we, both of them are aware of it, so quit wasting everyone's time with these grievances. Then Siegemund became more aggressive, stating, the score was being called by the umpire following the point was over, as if that was somehow providing Coco an advantage. Here's where her argument entirely fell apart. The umpire calls the score after the point is finished, since that's how tennis works. You complete the point, then when the score is announced, you get ready for the next point. Siegemund was basically complaining about the fundamental structure of tennis scoring because she was irritated and searching for anything to gripe about. The umpire's patience was plainly wearing thin when Siegemund insisted that Coco wasn't prepared. After going to the towel between points, the umpire had heard enough. A point. Penalties were imposed, and abruptly, Siegemund's approach of complaining her. The strategy to win backfired miserably. Rather than receiving the desired call, she lost a point and made. She appears to be a bad sport in front of everyone watching. I'm crying for the first time in a press conference as a tennis player. Do you perform? You owe the people. You owe the children who observe. Moreover, I'm only a little bit at the end of. When I return home, I may examine myself and I can say I did a terrific job. But did I get anything from the individuals? For that, even less than a 0 because they behaved badly towards me. Like I was a cheater, like I was trying covert ways to win this match or whatever. They handled me. If I were a horrible person. But there are folks who flinging rackets, who are screaming, who are making inappropriate actions directed at the audience. I did not a single second during the entire game, and there was a lot of tension going on. Not 1 minute I did anything. I was simply slow, and that is covered by the rule. I receive my time violation. That's okay. Yeah. I'm not sure. Siegemund's attempt was a classic gamesmanship strategy in tennis. When you can't beat someone with you try to outsmart them in tennis. You complain to the umpire loudly enough that your opponent hears it. You try to generate a sense of tension and controversy. You're hoping the younger a player with little experience becomes agitated and begins to make errors. The issue is that Coco Gauff isn't easily rattled, and this technique utterly failed. Coco has encountered this type of conduct before. She's dealt with opponents trying to throw her off her game through varied tactics. She has expertise sufficient to understand that the finest reaction is to keep your attention on her tennis and let the officials do their job while Siegemund was busy moaning and arguing. Coco was most likely only thinking about the following point and how to win it. That mental discipline is what differentiates champions from everyone else. The allegations of dishonesty, even if not said precisely in those exact words, were plainly conveyed in Siegemund's complaints. When you're saying that your opponent is receiving unfair benefits, that the rules aren't being applied, likewise, that extra care is happening, you're essentially accusing someone of cheating or at least profiting from corrupt officiating. That's a significant accusation to make, and it shouldn't be thrown around lightly, merely because you're losing a match. Tennis has precise rules about time. Between points, players have 25 seconds from when the score is called until when they must commence their service motion. The serve clock is visible to everyone, involving athletes, referees, and spectators watching on television. If Coco was continually breaking that time restriction, everyone would see it. The fact that she only got one infraction implies she was controlling her time appropriately, and Siegemund's objections were just noise. What makes this situation even more absurd is something Siegemund is renowned for taking: her time between points. She's not exactly the fastest player on tour when it comes to pace of play. For her to complain about someone else's pace is wealthy. It's like the pot calling the kettle dark, except the kettle isn't even black in this instance. Coco was following the rules and Siegemund was just furious about it. The audience's response to the entire circumstance was instructive. Tennis. Crowds generally enjoy nice,